Good afternoon. I'd like to thank you all for joining us today and attending this press conference regarding the Sherry Papini case. Please silence your cell phones and other electronic devices. My name is Sheriff Tom Bosanko, B as in boy, O-S-E-N-K-O, Shasta County Sheriff. The Shasta County Sheriff's Office Major Crimes Unit continues to dedicate all of its resources to identifying and apprehending those individuals who are responsible for the abduction of Sherry Papini. Over the last 2 days, major crime detectives have interviewed Sherry at an undisclosed location. The interviews were very intense for both the investigators and for Sherry, due to her having to relive this traumatic event. She was cooperative and courageous during the interviews. On Thursday, November 24th, Thanksgiving Day, at about 4:30 in the morning, the Shasta County Sheriff's Office received that Sherry was located. We learned that she had been released by her captors near a rural road in Yolo County and near Interstate 5. She was bound with restraints, but was able to summon help from a passing motorist traveling on I-5 near County Road 17. During the interviews with Sherry, she described the sequence of events to the best of her recollection. Remember that she was held against her will and was isolated. There's still a lot of unknowns about her assailants. However, we commend Sherry for her efforts to sit down with our detectives and provide a statement. I would like to remind the media that we will not disclose everything about the case or what Sherry provided us for the integrity of the investigation, as it is active and ongoing. Sherry described her assailants as two Hispanic female adults. She related that both of the subjects spoke in Spanish the majority of the time of her captivity. Further, the suspects concealed their faces in an attempt to hide their identities from her. She provided the following information regarding the suspects. Suspect number 1 was the younger of the two suspects. She had long, curly hair. She had a thick accent. She had pierced ears. She had thin eyebrows. Suspect number 2 was the older of the two suspects. She had straight black hair with some graying color. She had thick eyebrows. Sherry did her best that she could in providing the descriptions, but was not able to provide a detailed description due to the suspects covering their faces, and at times, Sherry's head was covered. Detectives showed Sherry surveillance video, which was recovered on November 2nd, of several SUV-style vehicles that had been seen in the area at the time of her abduction. According to Sherry, none of the vehicles shown to her in the video were a match. Sherry did receive injuries over this 3-week period in which she was abducted and held captive. I will confirm that the suspects did brand her. I will not get into the details of where the brand is located on her body, nor what was branded on her, for again, the integrity of the investigation. The Major Crime Unit continues to dedicate all available resources towards this investigation. Evidence item recovered at the Yolo County scene will be submitted to the California Department of Justice for physical examination and processing. Detectives have written additional search warrants for cell phone information and are receiving data as it becomes available. I'm very thankful for the many tips and the community support to both the Papini family and to the Shasta County Sheriff's Office. I'd like to thank the following agencies for their continued assistance throughout this investigation. The Shasta County Probation Department, Shasta County District Attorney's Office, the Reading Police Department, California Highway Patrol, Yolo County Sheriff's Office, California Department of Justice, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, AMR Ambulance, and the Shasta County Search and Rescue Team. Until we identify the suspects, the public should remain cautious. As always, we continue to ask for the public's help. Our call to action is for anyone with information related to Sherry's abduction, her subsequent release, or the identity of the suspects to call their local law enforcement authority. The Shasta County Sheriff's Office has a tip line. That number is active 24 hours a day, and that number is 530-245-6135. Callers can also call tips into Shasta County Secret Witness, and that number is 530-243-2319. We are thankful that Sherry has been reunited with her family, and ask that you keep the Papini family in your thoughts and prayers throughout this holiday season. I also want to thank Keith Papini, her husband, for his cooperation and information in this case throughout the investigation. Again, this is an active investigation, and there is sensitive information that is not being disclosed for the integrity of the investigation. The Sheriff's Office will continue to update the media when information is developed. As of today, there's not going to be further one-on-one interviews, press conferences, or news releases unless new information or developments in the case take place. At this time, that concludes my prepared statement. I am available for a few questions. If you have a question, I'll call on you. Please identify yourself, your media company, and then state your question. And please try and state it loud enough so everyone can hear. We do have passing traffic. Sir.
Stephen Lee, NBC Network News. Were there only these two captors, these two women? Were there ever male captors as well?
All the information that we have at this time are the two Hispanic females. They were armed with a handgun, and that's all we have at this time. Of course, if other information develops, we'll let you know. Ma'am.
ABC Network News. Can you tell us a little bit about this evidence item that was recovered in Yolo County and then
Well, there are a number of items that were retrieved as evidence in Yolo County. Again, I'm not going to get into the specific details of all the evidence. We have received the evidence back from Yolo County, and then we'll be turning it over to the California Department of Justice for processing. Sir.
Mike Mangus, KRCR News Channel 7. Why was she taken?
We still do not have a motive as to the reason why Ms. Papini was taken. We do not know if she was a specific target or if this was a random abduction. Yes, ma'am.
Allie Wilcox, Sacramento. Did Sherry talk about if she was on the move or where she was taken, if it was one spot? Does she remember being moved around?
Did everybody hear the question? We're not providing the information on the specifics of where she may have been taken after the abduction at this time, but valid question.
So you do know, though?
Sir. We are discussing that with a sketch artist. Again, as you heard from the description that I provided, very minimal, and the subjects had their faces covered to hide their identities. But we're going to discuss that with a sketch artist to see if there's enough maybe to get at least the eye area of the suspects out. Sir.
Chris Stevens, U.S. Press Corps. We have been sharing reports of a purported blog that was written of her before she was married to her husband, Keith. Have you guys been getting any tips on that as if it was actually written from her? There was things such as skinheads and such like that. Have they investigated like an IP address from her?
We are familiar with that blog that you were referring to. It was written in at least posted in 2003, roughly 13 years ago. She would have been about age 20 or 21. We do not know that it has any relevance to this case or not. Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Tamina Danielle, CBS News. When Keith released his information about his wife and how she was found, he talked about her injuries as well as being underweight. Has she given any explanation about what happened when she was held captive? Did they feed her at all? Did they give her any sort of attention, or was it just a constant beating?
We're not providing details of that information there. Mario?
Yeah, do you know if he's going to release his statement, and if so, did it hurt you guys' investigation at all?
I did not know that he was going to release this until a short time before I did a media interview. And yes, I do think that with some of the details that he has provided, it could affect the integrity of the investigation. Sir.
Scotty Schwartz of NBC News. Is there any indication that this is cartel related or possibly sex trafficking?
Thank you. A very good question. We don't have specific information if it was related to any cartel info or to human trafficking.
Steve Gibson, KQMS. Have you heard of any other case anywhere with a similar MO?
We have been in touch with other agencies with this investigation and are looking into those aspects of it. Yes, ma'am.
CBS Sacramento. I know you talked about these two women and their identity, still looking for it. Have you looked into the full details past any kind of
Yes, our investigators have looked into her past, and that is part of the ongoing investigation. I do have time for one more question, and that'll conclude the interview. Sir.
Can you tell us if they stayed in this area, where they were, where she went, and what?
I don't have specific information as location or locations where she may have been taken, other than she was located near County Road 17 in Yolo County along I-5, which is approximately 150 miles from Redding here. I would like to thank you all very much for your attention and for attending today, and that concludes this press conference. Have a good day.